Those are the headlines in our top focus. Now, according to an official in Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's office, the Gaza ceasefire will come into effect after being ratified this evening by the Israeli government. Meanwhile, top U.S. officials, including Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and former senior advisor to President Trump, Jared Kushner, will travel to Israel tonight itself. Now, according to reports, the pair were amongst the U.S. officials who took part in recent negotiations in Egypt, which aimed to reach this peace deal that has now been realized. Trump had earlier praised their efforts, calling them a tremendous help in ensuring that the peace process continues smoothly. Their arrival in Israel comes after significant progress towards a ceasefire deal, with now the exchange of hostages and prisoners taking place. Of course, this is the first phase of a multi-phase plan that has now been put into place. In fact, this particular phase that has been agreed upon includes the release of all Israeli hostages and the withdrawal of Israeli troops to an agreed upon line. Additionally, 2,000 Palestinian prisoners will be released and sent back to Gaza. Earlier, President Trump, remember, had unveiled a 20-point peace plan that ranged from disarmament of Hamas to withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. There are, of course, some aspects that are contentious and will be discussed in further rounds of negotiations that will be taking place. But the agreement that has now that is going to come into force very, very soon with its ratification opens the door for lasting peace. Meanwhile, there are world leaders who have come out in support, who backed this particular deal. We've seen British Prime Minister Keir Starmer stating that this is a momentous occasion, a moment of relief for the people of Gaza. In fact, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has called it a much-needed step towards peace as well. Canada, too, has expressed its support, highlighting the reunification of hostages with their families and the withdrawal of Israeli troops. The UN Secretary General has urged all parties to comply with the agreement and secure a permanent ceasefire, and he's also stressed upon the need for a two-state solution to end this conflict once and for all. Apart from this, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has expressed satisfaction with the ceasefire agreement reached between Israel and Hamas following the negotiations in Sharm el-Sheikh. Apart from this, Erdogan has also thanked the US President for his political will. China, too, has come out and called for a permanent and comprehensive ceasefire in Gaza, and that is not all. Saudi Arabia has also welcomed this particular development. Jordan, too, has called this agreement as a landmark agreement, reaffirming its commitment to Palestinian rights and calling for a two-state solution for lasting peace. With us on the broadcast is Mr. Ali Mohammed Abushbak, independent Palestinian researcher, joining us from Cairo. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. Earlier in the day, we had in fact seen some reactions from Palestinians in Khan Yunis. They were cheering, they were elated with the fact that now this bombardment will stop on the ground. But of course, what remains really crucial and critical at this time is ensuring that humanitarian aid reaches the people of Gaza. I would like to ask you, how do you feel at this moment?
Thank you for having me. On the ground, the people disbelieve that this historical moment, the ceasefire, have been carrying out now, and they are celebrating on the ground in all Palestine, on all Gaza's in all Gaza. So nowadays, it's a historical moment, and the Gaza Strip now, it's celebrating the people and disbelieve this moment, despite there is some people has a fear that Israel is going to resume the war after releasing the captive, but this is not the huge issue, despite there is a several of guarantee from the mediator, Qatar and Egypt and America, and recently Turkey, it's in the loop. So the thing is, it's a good atmosphere. Unfortunately, just now, Israel have been bombardment as civilians in Al-Rashid Street by Israelis drone. Hamas have been accepted the deal, and now at 5 p.m. Israeli local time, the cabinet is going to meet and to agree and sign on the Hamas, the Palestinian prisoner list. To exchange the prisoner with the captive. Most that expected that day after tomorrow day after tomorrow on Sunday or Saturday, they are going to release a captive. This is a first phase of the negotiation and first phase of the ceasefire between Gaza and Israel. The second phase is going to be next time. After releasing the captive and the hostages, it will negotiate the Israeli who's will rule in Gaza, and it will discuss that Hamas line down its weapon and as I mentioned, who's will going to rule in Gaza. Hamas suggests 40 names to rule Gaza, and they are rejected any interfering from the Israel or any kind out of Palestinian bodies to rule Gaza and govern Gaza. So the thing is now also among of this first phase, Israel is going to increase the humanitarian aid to enter Gaza, and they are talking about 5 corridor to open to, facilitated the reach of the humanitarian aid into Gaza. Osama Hamdan, one of the senior leader of Hamas, he confirmed that it was a positive atmosphere in this negotiation which holding in Sharm el-Sheikh. So the thing is a good news this, but also from the Israeli side, in contrast that Smotrich, the Israeli minister, and he's from far right wing. He said that they are not going to vote for the ceasefire, and he's calling Benjamin Netanyahu to resume the war after releasing the captive without any exchanging with the Palestinian prisoner. So he's also saying the aim of this war, it should be devastating Hamas and erase Hamas, which most of the mediator, they consider Hamas, it will not be a part of any Palestinian government or any Palestinians represented body in future. There is no politician future for Hamas. But here, this statement, it's giving a question mark about the intention of Israel after releasing the hostages. Hamas agreed that the plan of the Israelis would withdraw from the Gaza Strip and will take at some point for the Israelis a truce in Gaza, like what happened with the Lebanon last time. Israel decided to withdraw from 5 points, but up to now Israel is rejecting to withdraw from these 5 points with Hezbollah and Lebanon. So I'm afraid that this will happen again with Gaza, that escalated the situation on the ground. But let us be optimistic. We'll see what will happen after. After the time and after the second phase of this negotiation. In the Israelis, in Israeli side, there is a celebration, and as they are close to release the captive from Gaza, and they will be again meet their family and loved one. Also in Gaza nowadays, as I mentioned, like the Israeli community, they are celebrating. People are shouting and whistling to express their happiness after 2 years of continuous bombardment and suffering from starvation and famine in Gaza and the humanitarian crisis. Despite the Israelis' drone is still flying over the Gaza Strip sky, and despite the Israeli troops shooting randomly the places in Gaza, in Sheikh Radwan, in also As-Sabra neighborhood, in Tel El-Hawa neighborhood, in whole Gaza Strip. But let us be positive about what will happen. Hopefully the peace will come in this region and this area after they will sign and the final of the agreement, and will be the peace. Here in Middle East, maybe some, like yesterday we discussed several of Muslim and Arab states will join the peace plan, and they will sign peace agreement with Israel. That's what we hope, and that's what we want to see this area, Middle East, with the peace and the socio-political peaceful coexistence with Israel. and also accept that the Palestinian statehood should be established and the union between Gaza and West Bank, rather the fragmentation, socio-political fragmentation between Gaza and West Bank and Jerusalem carrying on the ground. So hopefully will happen. The atmosphere is positive up to now. We'll see what will happen.
All right, so requesting you to stay on with us. In fact, following the announcement of this agreement and the implementation of the first phase, there are reactions pouring in from across the world. From the Middle East, Saudi Arabia has welcomed the peace plan, expressing optimism for comprehensive peace in the region. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has also reacted. He has stated that developments in Israel and Gaza are moving in a positive direction, adding that this is a great chance for the release of hostages and the withdrawal of Israeli troops from the Gaza Strip. The German Chancellor has in fact emphasized that hostages must be released, Hamas must disarm, and the ceasefire must take place very fast. He's also highlighted that Germany is closely monitoring the situation and that he remains confident that a solution to this crisis will be found before the end of this week. Listen in to what he had to say.
Die Entwicklung in Israel macht uns Mut. Hier gibt es offensichtlich eine große Chance, in den nächsten Stunden schon zu einer Übereinkunft mit der Hamas zu kommen. Es gibt die Chance, dass noch in dieser Woche die Geiseln freigelassen werden und dass es dann auch zu einem Rückzug der israelischen Armee im Gazastreifen kommt, so wie es vereinbart worden ist oder wie es vorgeschlagen worden ist in dem 20-Punkte-Plan des amerikanischen Präsidenten und der israelischen Regierung. Also die Hoffnungen, auch was Israel betrifft und den Gazastreifen betrifft, haben in der letzten Nacht noch einmal zugenommen. Aber noch ist es nicht wirklich abgeschlossen. Insofern beobachten wir die Situation natürlich sehr genau und bleiben zuversichtlich, dass es, wie gesagt, noch in dieser Woche zu einer Lösung dort kommt.
Still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Ali Mohammed Abu Shbak. Sir, in your previous observation, you had stated that it's very important that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. What lessons can we then draw from past peace efforts that can be implemented this time around to ensure that those mistakes are not repeated?
There is no doubt the second phase is one of the hardest and toughest negotiation between Hamas and Israel, and there is no doubt there is an obstacle about it. But the thing is also Hamas stressed about the guarantee to not resume the war and not going back to the war. But in my opinion, Turkey being a mediator in this phase and this deal that has a significant meaning that especially Recep Tayyip Erdogan, he's supporting Hamas and explaining for Hamas the things, and maybe the relationship between Israel, the tense relationship between Israel and Turkey impacted deeply the Israelis' economy. And nowadays, Benjamin Netanyahu, according to Donald Trump, Israel can't fight with the whole world and can't fight whole world, because we have seen all the international community, all the government, entire this world, India, China, Switzerland, and all the world, they are welcoming the ceasefire agreement and they are welcoming the end of this war. So hopefully this will happen. The significant issue, should Israel adhere to its obligation in this deal? Hamas shouldn't provoke Israel like last time when they are about the ceremony of and the stage of releasing the captive. I guess Hamas is not going to do it again, and hopefully Israel will accept these things. Hopefully Israel is not resume the war suddenly after releasing the whole captive, and the only strongest card and powerful card with Hamas is the captive. Hopefully this will not happen, resume the war. And I guess Hamas now is very, very serious about the ceasefire, because it's not the demand of Hamas, it's demand of the grassroots on the ground. The Palestinians, they can't tolerate it again, they can't bear with this war again. They lost their passion, they lost everything, they lost home, they lost their loved one, they lost everything. So I guess Hamas now understand the demand of the civilians on the ground, and understood that the international community won't accept Hamas in the Palestinian government or in ruling Gaza. So Hamas now is very serious with this regard. But who is not serious? Itamar Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. Hopefully both of them, they will be expelled from the Israeli government. Lapid, he said in this this coming month he's going to meet the Israeli opposition, and they will decide something to cover the situation and to support the peace plan. Hopefully they will have a power and the authority to support this peace plan instead of just only protesting and just only demanding for calling for releasing the captive and ending the war. As I mentioned, the significant obstacle for this war, it's for the peace, is Itamar Ben Gvir and Smotrich, because they have nothing, and they understood that in coming election they will not they will not win in the vote of the civilians in Israeli community. Israeli community impacted very, very badly in this war, economically and about also socially. In social feast and political feast, also Israeli reputation have been damaged during this war. So hopefully the things, it will be serious. Benjamin Netanyahu now alone, in my opinion, and he embarrassed from Donald Trump. So Donald Trump personally, he interfered in this negotiation and this peace. So Benjamin Netanyahu is not going to betray Donald Trump. And we have seen all the international community welcome this agreement. So after that, if Israel is going to resume the war, it has a no pretext for resuming the war or any excuse to resume the war in Gaza. I guess nowadays should be serious, and as you mentioned, it will be a comprehensive peace in this region if they are access on carrying out this plan and seriously implement this plan. There is no doubt it will be like Lebanon. There is a significant, uncontinuous bombardment, assassinating for some leader or commander from Hamas. This is expected, and there is, I guess, Hamas, it will work with a flexibility more. So I guess nowadays it's very crucial this coming time, and second phase is more crucial than first phase because of its negotiation about the future of Hamas and discussing the future of Hamas leader in Gaza and secure a corridor to expel the Hamas leader maybe. So the thing is now, I guess Israel now in embarrassed place. All the international community pressurize Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu if he's going to resume the war without any significant and convincing excuse that will put Israel in very, very embarrassing place.
With that, I would like to thank you for taking out time sharing your perspective with us on NewsX World. More news we're tracking from the Middle East. Displaced Palestinians living in Doha's Al Thumama complex have expressed cautious hope for the success of US President Donald Trump's Gaza plan. Now, the plan's first phase has been agreed upon by Israel and Hamas. And this follows indirect talks in Egypt. This agreement has come a day after the second anniversary of the deadly attack that had taken place in southern Israel on the 7th of October in 2023. It marks a potential shift towards peace in Gaza. While the deal offers hope, its details, of course, up until now are sparse and many unresolved issues still persist. There will be negotiations that are slated very, very soon, but if fully implemented, it could bring both sides closer to peace than any previous attempt, potentially reshaping a regional conflict. As with past peace efforts, this plan's success is uncertain and the situation is very, very delicate on the ground. The accord may face significant challenges before it can lead to lasting resolution. But in the meantime, let's in fact take a look at what these Palestinians have had to say.
نتمنى من رب العالمين انه يكملها على اهلنا في غزه بالسلامه التامه يا رب. طبعا مشاعر متضاربه واحاسيس متضاربه، فرح مع سعاده مع خوف مع قلق ومع تمني في النهايه انه هاي الاباده تكون منتهيه على الاخر وبشكل كامل على القطاع.
بنتامل من الله عز وجل ان يتم الاتفاق باسرع وقت ممكن، لانه احنا من امبارح واحنا بنستنى على الاخبار، بنستنى لحظه بلحظه باعلان الرئيس ترامب على وقف اطلاق النار. وطبعا هم بيستنوا الاجتماع انه يعلنوا وقف اطلاق النار الساعه 12 الظهر، واحنا حتى الان بننتظر أحر من الجمر إنه تقف هذه الإبادة.